Okay, and welcome to the drawing portion of this class. I have decided on a bath time theme. You can choose whatever you would like, but this is what I'm going to be working on. So, for the first part of doing the artwork, I just laid down the background. So, here I'm just adding the darker purple shade on the bottom as kind of the floor, and then I'm adding lines to make it look like tiles on the wall. If you also want to do a bath time theme, I created a Pinterest board on my Pinterest account. Just look up Oraroke and bath time and you can reference that. I go through a lot of the drawing stuff a little bit faster in this course because in my previous course, I did more of like a beginner friendly introduction to Adobe Fresco. So if you feel like this class is a bit too fast, you might want to go back to my previous class and come back. But I will also talk about all the things that I'm doing. So as you can see here, I like using the clipping mask a lot. And the reason why is because you can work with different layers and make sure that it's constrained to a specific layer in the drawing that you worked on. So on this bathtub, you see the green, the darker shade of green that is kind of like a line. And if I didn't use clipping mask, then the line might go over a little bit. And is the same for the kind of legs of the bathtub that I'm working on right now. It's really helpful to have the clipping mask. It just guides you and lets you know when it's the right time to stop. And even if you don't stop, the clipping mask will just make sure that you are constrained to that layer. And I didn't work on this with any like sketches or anything. I just went with the flow. I was referencing some drawings of bath time scenes, and then I just imagined, what kind of characters do I want to see? And so I thought I would draw a bunny, but then I ended up starting with a bear that you can see here. As you can see, I have the different parts of the bear on different layers. So I've got the face, ears, and the body on separate layers just in case they need to work differently. And then I have that as like a clipping mask on the bathtub, so it's like nice and enclosed there. And then I've got the facial features on a separate layer as well. And this is actually super important later for when I work on motion, because I have the bear's face moving from left to right, and the only way I could have achieved this is if I had the facial features on a separate layer. So that's what I did here. And then, I'm just going back and just adding more details on this bathtub. And and then I wanted to add like, one of those like head covers for when you don't want to wash your hair. I wanted to do that, but then it ended up looking like an egg, and so I thought I'll just turn this into an egg. Let's just imagine that it was like a super hot bath or something. I don't know. I'll leave it to the viewer's imagination. So that's what happened there. If you're curious about the brushes that I am using for this project, I'm using just a hard round brush, which is a basic brush. For the animals, I'm using Kyle's Paint Box Natural Feel Brush. And for the facial features, I'm using the Sharp Inker. And yeah, so I just kind of went with the flow. With the bunny, I had bunny with just one color, but then I thought, because there's a bit more details with the bunny that I wanted to add, like with the ears, for example. So I have like two shades of pink, a lighter one and a darker one, and it just helps give this bunny a bit more dimension than bear, because the bear is just a little bit more straightforward. So yeah, that's why I have these two colors, and I find it's really useful to have two colors when you want to show movement or motion to a piece, because then it just becomes really easy to show motion instead of like having to add any lines to express like that there's like a folding action happening in, or like creases in like the arm area, or like a shirt. So that's why I'm using two colors here. And then I'm just adding a headband for bunny. I used not the clipping mask this time, but I used just a mask to do that for bunny. And so we have those two characters there. And last but not least, I added a froggy character here. And I was just like thinking about the different colors. I didn't start off thinking that I would draw a frog, but then just looking at the brown tones of the bear and then the pink tones, I just felt like something that was more contrasting than those two colors would be useful and helpful. And so I just ended up with this like very bright shade of green that I loved. So it ended up being a frog. Not really intentional, but that's what happened. And I think that's what happens with drawing sometimes. You just like don't really have the solid idea to begin with, but as you progress in your drawing, you just notice things, and you notice like certain colors are missing or would be great to add, and so that's how I added it for these characters.